Good morning guys, we are back with another monotype water run. It's been 6 months since the last one when we finished off the Kanto region's monotype runs. We are starting today in Johto and we are going to start off with the monotype water run. Just because there's a lot of Johto water type Pokemon to deal with, so I actually think this one will be quite interesting. As I've said before in previous monotype runs, it's not about whether it's possible these runs, it's just the way that we build the teams and which Pokemon we actually do it with. And also that we actually do this to the rule set that I've set out. So we're going to start off with Totodile as our first water type, and our Totodile today is going to be called Lila Wendo's Bushi. I think that's how you pronounce it. You have asked for it to be a Feraligatr for quite a while now. So yeah, Lila, you will be our Totodile going into Feraligatr for this run. Welcome to the channel. I know you've been here a while, but thank you very much. And you know what? We haven't done a Totodile run yet, so this is quite an interesting one for me. We've done nothing from this Pokemon line so far, and I'm quite excited for this. Totodile is a great Pokemon. Like, it's not exactly a special attacker taking advantage of its water type moves. It's a very strong physical attacker, which means likes of Slash is going to be a crucial move to this run for this Pokemon. Also means we can utilize good other moves like Iron Tail as well. I'm excited to use this one, and it's definitely our first water-type Pokemon of the run. But with us being this being a mono-type water run, it also means that the rival, who we will name very, very shortly, has chosen Chikorita as the stronger choice against our team. Just because it's going to be, well, this is how we do it in Gen 2. Once we've picked up the Pokédex, we've hightailed it all the way back to New Barktown. We're going to get started with our rival's name, and our rival for today is going to be Matthew Dale, another one of my subscribers. Thank you for subscribing and welcome to the channel. You are going to be our rival for today. So with Totodile in tow, and you can see the video has kind of messed up a little bit. It started off at level cap 14, but it's going slowly down to level 9, because that's what we will need to be to go against Fogner. We need to go in at every gym leader at the level cap or below, and try and beat the game under the level cap or at the level cap. That is our aim. We cannot use double team. That is a bad move. But other than that, there's not too many other rules to put into this. We can't use items to heal. We can't use held items. That all just makes the run a bit harder. And I know held items came into play with this generation, but I don't know. I just never liked using them. It's just never the way that I played Pokemon games. Even with Gen 9, when I played my very first run of that, which isn't on YouTube, of course, I actually played it without held items, just because that's how I naturally play, from being a very solid Gen 1 runner. Anyway, now we have beaten all of the trainers in Falkner's gym, we can head back in and give the big man a run for his money himself. But with Rage on our moveset, this should be pretty comfortable. The fact that Totodile gets Rage is unbelievable. We are just on the cusp of level 10. As long as we go into the fight just before we level up to over the level cap, it's all fine with the rules. So we get Rage at very early levels, and it is such a good move. It's so much better than in Gen 1, where Rage locked you into using it every single turn. In Gen 2 you can switch which moves you use even if you've started using Rage, and we get an incredibly easy win because of it. Level cap goes up to 16 as we head over to Azalea, but we are going to go and pick up our first new team member of the run, and that is going to be the water ground type Wooper. Now, Wooper is a fantastic addition to the water types in this generation, just for the fact that now we don't have Pokemon weak to electric type moves. Our Wooper for today is going to be Luke Delorme. Thank you for subscribing and welcome to the channel. I nearly got your name wrong here on this. Yeah, Wooper is a fantastic Pokemon, and considering it gets some absolutely incredible moves throughout this, it even gets the likes of Amnesia, you can learn Earthquake. It's a stacked Pokemon when you build it correctly. And yeah, I actually ran into another Wooper straight away, that's pretty cool. But yeah, with 2 Pokemon in tow, we will head on with this run. Wooper only starts off with 2 moves, of course, and that's going to be Water Gun and Tail Whip. Water Gun is going to be fine for getting some experience in Union Cave, and we can progress through getting it some good levels before getting to Azalea Town, because Azalea Town is going to be a big blocker on a lot of monotype runs to try and keep to that level cap. That all comes from the fact that the rival is a very hard fight in this town. Bugsy can be problematic depending on which types of Pokemon you've got and which moves you've got. But yeah, we're going to need all we can get to get through these next couple of fights. So, you might be thinking, what other Water-type Pokemon have we got in Johto? And as much as I can as possible with these runs, I'm going to try and stick to this generation's Pokemon of that type. So, I wouldn't be using the likes of Tentacool, Squirtle, anything like that from Gen 1. It's going to be purely, as much as I can, will only be Gen 2 Water types. That might be a problem on other Monotype runs, such as the Ghost run, where you've only got one new addition to Johto, but a few of you kind guys in the comments have already said that when it gets to that stage, you can use a Ghastly there. Anyway, let's see how we do against Bugsy with these two guys. And still, Totodile is going to be the main guy to use here. Our Wooper has learnt the move Slam, and yeah, it's not a great move really. Water Gun's still its best move, and in hindsight, just use Totodile here. Like, we are going to evolve it when it gets up to level 16, or I think it evolves a little bit early, but I know it's level 18 when Totodile evolves into Croconaw and then evolves early into Feraligatr at level 30. That was quite a unique one for the starter Pokemon evolution levels that I found in the earlier generations. Put a lot of investment into Totodile, you get Croconaw for a little while, but yeah, Feraligatr comes quite early on. Going against the Cypher, we've got it down to very low HP, but because Fury Cutter has accumulated a lot of damage, yeah, we lose that one. So we can win this at this level, but it's just going to be a bit difficult. We start off with Wooper, but then go straight into our Totodile. This is because we want to get as many stat boosts on our attack from Rage as possible, and we can only do that when we go against these first two Pokemon, where Kakuna and Metapod both use Tackle and Poison Sting. From here we get a final bit of stat boost, but then we get Poison, and that's a bad situation to be in. But thankfully Cypher only goes for Quick Attack and then goes for Fury Cutter, meaning Totodile, even though it's under levels, can take on this gym completely on its own thanks to Rage. We pick up the move for Fury Cutter, which will be getting used, I promise you that. It is a fantastic move, and of course Totodile can learn it, so we might as well use it where we can. That means there's only one more challenge, and that's going to be the rival fight here. We are going into this under-leveled still with our Wooper. Wooper is going to try and take out at least the Ghastly with Mud Slap. We do get put to sleep straight away, and we are getting licked to death, which isn't the greatest thing in the Pokemon world. We take down the Ghastly with 3 Mud Slaps, getting up to level 15, and then Bayleaf comes out, and this is the problem. It's 4 times effective on Wooper, and Totodile can't do much with Rage on it. So we're going to have to figure out something different here, because otherwise this is going to be impossible. This might be impossible. So we backtrack all the way back to Sprout Tower. Because we've beaten Bugsy first, the level cap has increased, meaning we can actually go back and level up against some trainers. And from here we get our first evolution of the run, which is Totodile into Croconaw. With Croconaw we should have more to work with here, meaning hopefully the fight goes differently. We've gone to level 20 here, just under the level cap, because this is what we possibly need to make this fight work. Well, thankfully, after this fight there's only one mandatory fight before you go against the next gym leader, so we can risk it by going up to level 20 here. We need to take that Bayleaf out as quick as possible, and thankfully a level 20 Croconaw can do this. We get the Zubat down to very low HP, and that brings us into a win, where we can now progress on and go to Goldenrod City. From here we can also pick up the TM4 Headbutt, a great move to add on, and of course we could teach Return if our friendship was high enough, but it's not going to work here. Another good thing about a lot of these Pokemon, they can learn the move Ice Punch, which is just incredible. Elemental Punches in this generation are incredible moves to be using. And you get them very early on, they're super effective against a lot of major fights. So we're going to teach them to these two and then move on to the third gym. I was debating going through this run, when should I add new guys to the team? And I kind of, on some runs it might just be I add them maybe every 2 gym badges, or I just catch them as and when depending on how frequent they are. But Whitney is up next, and we go against her scary Miltank. We're going to send Luke DeLon in first, so we can pretty much just take out Clefairy on its own, but it doesn't really do well as a matchup against it. We go for Headbutt as it does a little bit more damage, but it doesn't really put us in a good position. Miltank comes out next, and it is Miltank versus Croconaw. Now this is bad, considering, yeah, Rollout does incredible damage. So what do we need to do differently? Well, again, it's all going to rely on just Croconaw here with the move Rage. For the simple fact that Wooper just, unfortunately, just can't do enough in this fight on its own. At best, it can take out the Clefairy, which is pretty damn good for it. But the Miltank alone, unless we can get a freeze, it's not going to do anything really here. So we need to go straight for the Ice Punches and hope for a freeze here. We do get infatuated, but thankfully, after a few attempts, Ice Punch connects with a freeze. Perfect scenario, and the only thing that can go wrong here is they defrost, which has a chance to in this generation. It's not like Gen 1, where as soon as you get a freeze, there is no chance to defrost unless you get hit by a fire move. We get the badge, and the level cap moves up to level 25. You might be wondering as well how I'm going to tackle the level curve with this, because the 5th and the 7th gym have got very closely leveled Pokemon. Well, pretty much I'm just going to keep it going. So once I've beaten Gym 5 or Gym 7, whichever one I do first, the level cap will go up to level 31, and then Jasmine will be the level 35 level cap. Moving on to Olivine, of course, there are a few things we can do here. First one, of course, we can get ourselves a good rod, and this is going to add some new guys to the team. Now, there's a few chances that we can get some good Pokemon here, and I'm hoping that there's actually one bad choice that we can get, and I'm hoping that, it came up straight away. Yeah, possibly the worst choice that we could have fished up straight away, and it's kind of annoying because this has a low chance to actually spawn. Corsola is being added to the team. And Corsola is going to be called Shadow's Glory. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. And I hope you don't mind that you've been named after a Corsola here. So yeah, Shadow's Glory is going to be our Corsola. And you know what? I'm being unfair. Corsola is a good Pokemon in the right circumstances, and we will find those circumstances in this run. So Shadows G, thank you for subscribing. With 3 Pokemon on the team now, this is actually a good chance to start deciding what we're going to do next, because we haven't beaten Morty, and we need Morty to get access Surf. So we need to head back straight after this, but there also might be one more Pokemon that we can go and get now that we have the Good Rod. But we might have to loop back quite a long way for that, and we actually do. We got all the way back to New Barktown, where we can fish just on the right of New Barktown and catch a Chinchou. And here becomes one of the MVPs of this entire run. Reason for that? It's got the very unique typing of being a water electric, and my god, this is going to help us out so much, because yes, we are a water type team, but we also don't have a way to hit our guys super effectively. Chinchou fits that need, and Lantern in itself is a ridiculously good Pokemon. Brian H is going to be our Chinchou for this run, Lantern later on. Thank you for subscribing and welcome to the channel. Leaves ourselves open for 2 more Pokemon on the move slots, but we'll go for the 5th one maybe after the 4th gym. Actually, we will need to beat the 4th gym to actually go and catch it. We need to go and get Surf first, otherwise we cannot go and surf anywhere. Luke DeLong gets up to level 21 and learns the move Amnesia. That's going to be very key for later in this run. And it also evolves into Quagsire. Fantastic Pokemon, so derpy, and I love this guy. It's a great Pokemon to do a run with, especially in Gen 2. Enough of this diddle-daddling, we will get on with the gym challenge. Morty is the 4th gym leader of Johto, and we're going straight into this with Chinchou. With having Surf on our moveset now for a few of our Pokemon, Surf does tons of damage at this point in the game, especially to his Ghost types. And you can see here, we're only level 22, and we're doing pretty well against him. We can switch out in fights to our different Pokemon because there's not Solar Run anymore. And ideally what we want to do is just deal out as much damage as we can, get him through this Gengar, because that last Haunter will not be a problem whatsoever. Most annoying thing though is the fact we get put to sleep and Dream Eated, and they recover their HP very, very quickly thanks to this. Even our Croconaw gets put to sleep straight away. I always forget how fast Gengar actually is. Not even Brian can stand up to that Gengar. But we do have levels to work with, so we could level up a bit more if we really needed to, but I'm trying to keep our levels low, just taking into account the fact that we do have that level curve in this game, so we need to get some good luck here. We managed to get a couple of hits off with a few of our Pokemon, Corsola doing a little bit of damage to Gengar, and then of course we get put to sleep by the Gengar again, recovers all its HP, so this time we go straight back into our Chinchou, and straight away we get put to sleep. So it's all on Croconaw here if we can actually do this. We paralyze it, which should help us out. We get bites in, and finally Croconaw gets us the win, the reliable one. Manages to take out the Haunter, and we get the 4th badge, and that was very hard fought. Level cap goes up to level 30 because the next gym leader we're going to go against is going to be Chuck. Chuck has got 2 Pokemon, and he's super effective against one of our team. Of course, it's going to be Corsola. But on the way around, we can also pick up a new Pokemon. We might pick it up in a little bit, but it's going to be a very rare encounter, really. Well, there's actually 2 Pokemon we could get here, but I'm only going to catch 1 Pokemon per route. And I'm kind of hoping it's not going to be the first one that pops up, really. So out of the 2 Pokemon you can encounter here, you can encounter both a Remoraid, and you can also encounter a Mantine. Now, out of the 2, I would actually prefer to encounter a Remoraid, because Octillery is a very good Pokemon, as we found in my solo run. Mantine is pretty good as well, but it just doesn't have the physical prowess of Octillery. And looking at our team, we definitely need some more firepower, because Corsola is very defensively bulky, same with Quagsire. Chinchou is very specially strong, it's got high HP. Croconaw is our physical attacker. We need another physical attacker in case Croconaw goes down. So once we've got all the way around here, we actually find the Mantine first, which is annoying, but it's a very defensively bulky Pokemon, especially defensive. And we don't actually have something that's very specially defensive yet, so apart from Quagsire. So it is still welcome, but I really would have preferred a Remoraid. But that is going to be our encounter for this sea, and I'm not going to go for the Remoraid after this unless you can find it elsewhere in Johto, which I can't imagine. You kind of think it's only in this area. But with 5 members on the team now, with Mantine being a water flying, we actually have a good Pokemon that could do it if we had a Fly-type move. Chuck's up next, and ideally if Mantine did have a Flying type move, it would be really good in this fight. But it doesn't. It has Tackle, Bubble Beam, and Supersonic. You might be wondering as well, why have we not named down Mantine after one of our subscribers? Well, I completely forgot. So once we get a chance, we will nip back to Goldenrod, and we will call our Mantine after one of our subscribers. And you know what? I really slept on Mantine later on in this run, because Mantine really did come through clutch in a lot of fights, especially in Kanto as well. But, oh man, we are not doing well against this Poliwrath. We're getting hit by Dynamic Punches all over. It's all down on Shadow G. Can Shadow G pull through us here? And Strength's doing barely anything. Unless he keeps going for Mind Reader and Hypnosis, we should be alright, but no. We can recover, but we just didn't recover in time. You might have seen that we did have a Paris in the party there. That is just for HM usage, which is allowed in my moves, in my rule set. Once we've got the Primeape asleep, that is probably the best way to go about doing this fight. You can keep your Croconaw in, and just use Rage as and when. We just want to deal out damage. We need a Supersonic it with Mantine as well. That definitely helps out. And then just chip away as and when after it keeps hitting itself in confusion. Supersonic, I hate the move, but it became really useful in quite a lot of these early fights. We paralyze it with Thunder Wave, Supersonic again, and then surf the Poliwrath into the ground. We don't have Spark yet as a move, which is really annoying, but at the same time, it will be very valuable once it comes along. It's a level up move, and as much as possible as well, I'm trying not to use TMs like as much as possible. I'm trying to do this with the Pokemon just as their power comes. Corsola gets the win, and as I said, Corsola does get some wins every now and then, even though it was a little chip damage. Corsola will come into its own later in this run. We head back to the lighthouse, and then we can progress on to probably the easiest gym leader for us in this whole entire run. So once we've healed ourselves back up, this team is going to completely trounce the Steel Gym. And that is a weird thing to say, Water type beating Steel, but yeah, we've got everything we need to work here. So Jasmine has got 3 Pokemon, 2 Magnemites at level 30, which are just going to do nothing against our Quagsire. It's digging its way around. This is one of the few TMs I did pick up, digging away around these Pokemon, and that brings us into the Steelix. Now this Steelix is 10 levels above all of our team, and it outspeeds us, and it uses in no sunny day. It's like this thing is built to try and take on water types. So we're not going to go for water type moves, we're going to go for Dig, and it doesn't do anywhere near as much. Iron Tails don't do too much against us because we have that sub-ground typing, so we're just going to keep going for the digs, chip away at it, and now the Hyper Potion's been burnt up, sunny day is down, Luke DeLorme can come in and surf our way to victory. That's one of our Pokemon's just completely swept the gym, completely underleveled as well. I'm very happy with that win. This is a fun team to use. Johto is not really known for its great Pokemon, so building a team with very subpar Pokemon in, like, a lot of people would consider it subpar Pokemon. Honestly, this is quite fun. And it's been a while since I've said that about Gen 2, that it's been quite fun to play. So, after the 6th gym, of course, you need to do the Rocket side quest. We won't spend too much time in here because this is a very long video as it is, but we will talk about the Red Gyarados. Now, I did consider picking this up because technically you can only find this Red Gyarados in these games. It's a Kanto Pokemon, but yeah, it's a very unique one to Gen 2, so I did debate it, but ultimately decided it's probably better just being back at the bottom of the lake. Once we've seen Lance Hyper Beam some guys, we start the Rocket side quest. And to be fair, we are... It's weird. Normally when I do a solo run, I'm around about the level 40 mark here. Our entire team is still in the early 20s, mid-20s now. And that seems so weird to me that we're at this level. And yeah, just with this far into the game, it feels so weird. Like, it's been a long time since I've done a Johto playthrough like this, so yeah. We decided, you know, it's actually time to go and add a new person to our team. On the way back, as you saw there, we actually managed to find a Yangma, and it was time to actually name our Mantine. So after about 10 minutes of having this Mantine, we're finally going to call it Thomas Farmer. Thank you for subscribing, Thomas. Welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoy being the Mantine for this video. But that also leaves one party slot active. We can go and get our next guy. So we're actually going to go all the way back, and we're going to do it after the Rocket side quest. I feel like it's a bit too early to go and get our 6th party member right now. So, in the Rocket corner, of course, there are a lot of trainers you can go against to get up some levels. And considering the level cap right now is 35, I feel like we need to do some level grinding right now. Being in the early mid-20s is not a good scenario with the upcoming fights. Considering the next gym leader as well has Pokemon that are up at the level 40, it's a big level curve, that. Yeah, we're going to need the levels now. And Mantine is probably one of the hardest ones to level up because it doesn't hit hard, but it can tank a lot of hits. It's just annoying that it can't hit too hard right now. In the Rocket corner as well, we go against the Hyuk Hyuk trainer, or as I call him in some, well, I don't think I've ever actually called him, but I call him the Goofy trainer because Hyuk Hyuk is a sound that Goofy makes in Disney. Our Chinchou evolves into Lantern, and we've got another stacked Pokemon for this team. Lantern is incredible. Honestly, like, if you've never used a Lantern in Johto before, go try it out, and I promise you will enjoy using it. Plus, it's got a really cool colour typing. I mean, look at the sprite there. You've got that nice light blue, you've got the yellow. I think it contrasts really, really nice. And it's a beast of a Pokemon. Yes, we can't deal that much damage with Surf against a Grass type, but that means we can switch into our Croconaw, who still has Ice Punch. And it's pretty much a one-shot from there. 2 shots if Absorb didn't really do much. Murkrow, of course, is not going to be a problem whatsoever, but I'm interested to do a Dark-type run soon, just so I can use a Murkrow as well. Some of the runs in this series are probably going to be a bit unusual, considering for the likes of the Ground-type. Majority of the Ground-type Pokemon in this generation are locked either behind the post-game or right at the 8th gym. So we're going to have a chat in the comments about what we actually do for those runs where Pokemon are either locked behind the post-game or they're locked very far into the game, because solo running, you will definitely over level by this point in the game. So we definitely need some workaround. But I'm going to talk to you guys in the comments about that, because I'd rather get your opinions on it than just randomly deciding what I'm going to do. You guys have really helped me out in other videos before and helped me establish some of the rules that we've been using since the start of the year in my solo runs. Let's have a talk now about Price's gym. It's incredibly easy. We are still under-leveled if we were even going for the 5th gym right now, and we're already tackling the 7th gym. So this is why we're going against all the trainers here, just so we can get our lantern up to that level cap of 31. Yes, I know it says 35, but we've already beaten Jasmine. There are a lot of trainers here we can get some easy experience on, because the majority of them use water-type Pokemon that have got the ice subtype. Although this trainer here does have a Jinx, and that's honestly probably the best Pokemon they could have against us right now, because we don't have any super effective moves against the Jinx. Okay, with all the trainers pretty much beaten now, apart from this guy here who talks about the slippery floor. Hey, Swinub! Oh, it's going to be interesting when we get to the ice type run or the ground type run. That's going to be a fun one, because I love Swinub. Yes, it wasn't a great solo run, but it was still fun, because we had Shinup, the shiny Swinub. That is a tongue twister to say. With all trainers beaten, we've only just on the cusp of level 30 with some of our team. Let's see how we do against Price anyway. And you gotta go, well, we're gonna go heal up first, and then we will go fight Price. I really need to buy more potions when I go through these runs. But yeah, Price is gonna be pretty comfortably easy to us. Price, of course, has got 3 Pokemon. He's got fan favourites with Seal and Dugong. And to be fair, as long as we can set up Rage, again, we're going to be fine. We are just going to be fine. If we really need to, we can use Iron Tail, which will be super effective against them. Or it might be neutral thanks to the water subtype. Dugong comes out, and we are just raging our way through. There's not really too much you can do. We've got a team of 5, he's got a team of 3. And we take it down with no problem whatsoever. Piloswine comes out, and we keep going for Rage. It's going to take 3 Rages to take it down. A Blizzard comes out and puts on 10 HP, and then he goes for a Hyper Potion. You cheesy old man. But a critical hit gets us it, and we get a Croconaw sweep on the 7th gym. Yeah, 7th gym, and we still haven't got our starter Pokemon up to its full evolution. This is the craziness of the Johto level curve. With that though, we have the Rocket side quest, and from here we might as well go and get ourselves a couple of moves. We might as well pick up Return for later on, and we can go against the Rockets to get up some more levels. The level cap has now gone up to level 40, so the reins are off. We can go against as many trainers as we want to get as close to that level cap as possible. I'm going to still try and keep it as low down as I can, because we're going against a level 24 Raticate there, and at level 29, we're not dealing out much damage. Yes, we are using a special Dark-type move there, but my god, we should really be doing more damage at this point. It's kind of crazy. Normally, I'm used to one-shotting most of these Pokemon, so it's really weird being at this level at this point in the game. Oh, and we forgot to... Because I'm smashing B, I'm so used to solo running, trying to get through this as quick as possible. I did not allow my Croconaw to evolve there. So we've lost a level on it there, but we will allow it to evolve on the next one. That's kind of annoying. Really is kind of annoying. We get Croconaw down to 1 HP before switching it out, and then we bring in Luke Delorme to start getting some experience itself. Digging around, just getting all the wins that it needs to. Ice punching where possible. Quagsire is cracked. It is a great Pokemon. I really enjoy using it. Yeah, the Rocket side quest is pretty annoying. Like, although to be fair, I'm gonna give it some fairness. When you're doing a team-based run like I'm doing right now, where time isn't really the biggest factor that I'm thinking about, I actually don't mind it. Yeah, I'm actually going back on what I said. In a solo run setting, it annoys the crap out of me. But in a team-based setting, I didn't mind it as much, because, God, we needed those levels and those fights. Like, we really did. Luke Delorme takes out majority of the poison type Pokemons incredibly easy. Most of them have got poison types, they've got Rattatas, they've got even Drowsies sometimes. Most of the time they've got a Zubat though, and that's kind of annoying. Someone needs to keep a freeze counter on my videos, because I can't remember how many freezes I get every video. We beat the Grunt, and of course now we allow Croconaw to evolve into Feraligatr, easily the MVP of our team. It is just a very, very powerful Pokemon in this generation. I've not done a solo run with it yet, but considering how well the Typhlosion run solo run went, I actually think Feraligatr may get close to it or even beat it. We've done the Meganium run recently, and to be fair, it's kind of obvious why Meganium is not the greatest of Pokemon. It's not the fact it's not a great Pokemon in itself, it's the fact the generation's just not built for a Grass Mono starter. But either way, let's see how we do against this guy at the top of the radio tower who has a team of 6. And all I'm thinking here is, that yummy experience. That's all we want right now, so we can get up to level 40 more quicker than possible. And honestly, Thomas Farmer, the Mantine here, just sweeps through the entire team with Bubble Beam. Bubble Beam's one of the moves it naturally learns on level up, and you know what, it's a great move to have. Considering we don't have the greatest attacking stat, or the special attacking stat, it was very, very well invited to have that sort of move on our moveset. The Weezing, definitely the most bulky Pokemon in his entire team. Everything else that he has is just 5 level 30 coffins, which is a weird team setup. I wonder if, oh god, I'm thinking of another challenge now. Could this guy with 5 coffins and a Weezing actually beat Johto? Maybe I should put that on the challenge list as well, because who has a team like this? It's just crazy. Anyway, Shadows G gets up to level 29. From here, you can see the stats are not very good whatsoever, but we have got the basement key and can progress to try and free the Director. But before the Director, we have something standing in our way, and that, of course, is Matthew Dale back again to test his mettle against us. And for the first time on one of my videos on this channel, we're actually below this rival's level cap here. His lead here is at level 30, his Magnemite is level 29. Some of our Pokemon are still level 28. Like, it's funny for me that this, yeah, it just really is quite funny. Anyway, this Meganium is causing us big problems. I've just completely trashed on it talking about it earlier, but my god, it is really putting us through our metal here. Takes down over half of our team, and we've only got Brian to take out the Sneasel that stays behind. My god, that was close. Oh my god, I forgot about Haunter. Damn it! Forgot about Haunter. Oh, wow. Okay, let's try this again. We get good luck against the Golbat here. It hits itself in confusion quite a bit, and that brings us into the Magnemite, where we switch into our Quagsire. Because it can resist any Electro-type moves, we can take it down comfortably. After that, it does get taken down. We have to switch. We need to go into Brian and get it paralyzed and then confused. From there, we switch back into Thomas Farmer, who can use Takedown. Doesn't do all too much damage, but it will do some chip. That brings in our Feraligatr, where Ice Punch will take it down in 2. We're in a much better position this time round. But going into Feraligatr there meant we could also bite the incoming Haunter. After that, we use Iron Tail to take down the Sneasel, and from here we have a win. That was a tough fight, it really was a tough fight. That took us quite a lot of tries. And that brings us now to the top of the radio tower again, where we go against who I'm pretty sure is Archer in the remakes. I'm pretty sure they gave him a name called Archer. No one's ever said in the comments whether that actually is his name. I can't remember because I don't play Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I actually don't enjoy those games, and I know that is something that probably get a lot of people going, how do you not like those games? They're really good games. I don't like Gen 7 either. I don't like Heart Gold Soul Silver. I don't like Auras. I don't like Gen 7. I think they're bad games in my opinion. I just don't enjoy them. I will say though, I do not enjoy Diamond and Pearl. I love Platinum, but I do not enjoy Diamond and Pearl. Anyway, we have beaten the executive, and we're on to the main one now, where he has a Houndour. This guy is just not built to take on our team. Like, completely not built to take our team. We can learn the move Agility for Thomas Farmer as well. And from here, yeah, Thomas Farmer can just sweep this fight on his own. He's got a Coffin, a Houndour, and Houndoom. Yeah, 2 fire types against a water team. You are not going to do anything to really take us down. Bubble Beam gets us the win, and Thomas Farmer gets some well-needed experience. It's well fought there. Mantine's really coming into its own now. It's starting to get some levels up. And yeah, I think probably now's a good time to maybe think about a new member for the team. So if you know which Pokemon I'm going for, it's on screen right now with Qwilfish. Why Qwilfish? Well, a bit more type variety. So with it being a water poison type, it gives us something to use against likes of grass types, like super effective against grass types, which is perfect because we do need that typing. Goated Edit is going to be our our Qwilfish Pokemon for today. Thank you for subscribing and welcome to the channel. It's Goated Edit ZO. Thank you very much. Yeah, I like Qwilfish. When I did the solo run with it quite at the early stages of the channel, I honestly had a great time with it. The way you find Qwilfish in this game is you've got to wait. Oh, the game is taunting me with Remoraid now. I really wanted that Pokemon. Oh. Anyway, as I was saying, the way to get a Qwilfish. Basically, it won't spawn naturally. You have to wait until one of the fishermen close by to the outside of Violet City actually gives you a call and says that there's Pokemon spawning there, like Qwilfish spawning. At that point, you have to go and catch one. And I had to wait a while for that to happen. Actually, that's why we were getting the Pokemon so late, is because that's how long it took me before he actually called. Anyway, enough talking, let's go against Claire. So, how are we going to beat Claire? Well, we are very underleveled here. We're level 25 with our with our Qwilfish. Goated Edit is not going to like me for that. But it's done enough. It's managed to do a little bit of chip damage, but these Dragonairs are really annoying. The fact that they all have Thunder Wave, and we're all, yeah, water type Pokemon. We really need to be able to outspeed them. Thankfully, Feraligatr does. Thank God we have Feraligatr. I mean, God knows what we would have done otherwise. Yeah, Feraligatr manages to outspeed and get an Ice Punch in. We switch into Luke DeLorme because we want to keep Feraligatr for later. And we take out this next Dragonair. The third one is out and we get Ice Beam down. That's not a good position to be in. And we need to switch back into it. Iron Tail doesn't do all too much. Ice Punch is the way to go here. And that then brings us into Kingdra now. I'm going to switch back out and then back into Feraligatr. Pretty much what we're doing there is switch training, switch EXP training. Doesn't really work in our favour, but we managed to get Brian in to get a Spark in, get a Thunder Wave in, and with that setup we should be okay to beat this Kingdra. We waste the Hyper Potion, but it's going to take quite a few more Sparks to take out this Kingdra. It does have the Dragon typing, which negates super effectiveness on the Electric type, but it's not enough to take down Lantern. That is all 8 gym badges done, and the level cap goes up to level 42. We pick up the Dragon Fang, which is pointless because we're not doing held items, and then we progress on to the Pokemon League. None of our Pokemon can learn Dragon Breath, so it's kind of a pointless TM to also have picked up. We also jump all the way back down to New Barktown, and we actually encounter Gligar. I really am looking forward to doing a Flying type run, and I might actually do a Flying type Mono type run next, just so I can use Gligar. Like Flying Ground type, fantastic typing. We also spend a lot of time leveling up against these level 28 Sandslashers. They yield about 700 experience per turn, and most of our Pokemon can take them out pretty comfortably. Whirlpool, the only reason why we've got Whirlpool is because we needed to get past the Whirlpool in Dragon's Cave. That brings us to the end of Victory Road, where we go against the rival again. This is the last time we're going to see Matthew, so please give him a big thank you for being the rival for today, and we will see how he does here. We start off with Shadows G, who doesn't do all too much damage. You might be wondering, why have I given it Earthquake instead of giving it to Quagsire? Well, Quagsire actually learns it naturally, so we don't need to teach it there. Could have taught it to Feraligatr, but I quite like the moveset we have there. After it takes out 2 of the Pokemon, we're going to switch into our Feraligatr, so it's start of each start here. We can outspeed and hit hard with Ice Punch, but Razor Leaf hits hard as well. Thankfully we can't tank it because of the crit. That's annoying. So we bring in Qwilfish to pin missile away that Meganium, but it doesn't do more than 2 pin missiles, which is annoying. That then brings out Kadabra, and we go again for a pin missile, which pretty much does so much damage on it. Like, physical move, super effective. It actually does alright damage, so I'm quite happy with that. Golbat comes in, and then Luke DeLorme gets hit by a Future Sight. In this generation, Future Sight, even though it's listed as a Psychic type move, actually does typeless damage, so yeah, we don't take super effective damage from it. And with a final Earthquake from Quagsire, we get the win, leading us on to the Elite Four. And here comes the biggest challenge of the game so far. We need to take on 5 trainers here, all really powerful, and yeah, this is going to be a difficult one. Let's see how we do against Will. So Will is up first in the Elite Four, and this is a difficult one. I decided, you know what, we've got Amnesia, why don't we try using it? Doesn't really work when your Pokemon's very slow and they can get powerful hits in straight away. Brian also gets confused, but finally takes down the first Xatu. Not a great scenario being with 2 Pokemon down and he has already got the advantage against us. Psychics are just doing so much damage, but we are under leveled in comparison. We've only got 3 Pokemon left and yeah, 2 Pokemon left. Nearly, yeah, we're going to lose this attempt. We just got absolutely trashed here. Thomas Farmer has of course got Waterfall and it's a good move for it to have, but yeah, we got completely trashed by Will there. And we had to level up, so at level 41 we are just under the level cap here. We take on Will again, and this time it goes completely differently. Apart from the fact this first Xatu completely trashes on Quagsire, nearly taking it out. Executor comes in, finishes off the job. Level 40 is pretty much the average level of our team. We Ice Punch the Executor and thankfully sets up Reflect and Ice Punch's special move. We then go into Iron Tail to try and take out the Jinx, but we get put to sleep. Not a great scenario. We wake up pretty much straight away though, and an Iron Tail nearly one-shots it. So we're just going to go for Bite and take it out, but we take a lot of damage in the process, so we didn't do really well with Feraligatr here. We possibly... Oh, we're going to Goated Edit here, and we go for Pin Missile on Slowbro, but one Psychic is a one-shot. This Slowbro is a nightmare to go against. And then comes Thomas Farmer. It can't do all too much, but it does enough to take down this Slowbro. 3 wing attacks take it down, and that brings into Xatu, and we've got 3 Pokemon to work with. Thomas Farmer tanks a final Psychic before nearly getting a Supersonic off, and that brings us into Brian. Brian is probably our best chance to take down the Xatu, and it gets the Paralysis with a Spark. Perfect scenario, and then a crit finishes it off. That was a hard first fight, and it's only going to get harder from here. Koga is out second, the level goes up to 44. You know what, Quagsire is a great Pokemon for this fight. Earthquake, just perfect move to be using. It hits a lot of his Pokemon super effectively, even hits Venomoth super effectively because it is a poison type. Oh no, it's neutral because of the bug type. I completely forget that. Yeah. Fortress is 4 times weak to fire type moves, which is annoying because we don't have any fire type moves on these Pokemon. What we do have though is a well, go to edit. What we're going to do is go for Minimize. Actually, what I'm hoping for here is that the Fortress will be baited into using Self-Destruct or Explosion. We can't do much to it with Go to Edit, but then I also realised Minimize was a stupid strategy here because he has the move Swift. Hits every time regardless. So we switch into Shadow's G, try and get some Earthquakes off, but this Fortress is just a problem. It finally does hit an Explosion, takes out Shadow's G, and we've got 3 Pokemon left to deal with the remaining Pokemon. Brian comes in, gets a Paralyze on the Muck, and then we're going to switch out into Thomas Farmer to try and deal out some chip damage. Our last 2 Pokemon, the Feraligatr and the Lantern, are our most powerful Pokemon on the team. Everybody else is kind of more used as utility really in this setup. Thomas Farmer though manages to take down the Muck and then brings in the Crobat. I'm going to go for a Supersonic straight away and then go for Waterfalls. And you know what, Thomas Farmer, again, Mantine just came through on this fight and did so well. Yes, we managed to burn the full restore, bringing us back into Brian, but Thomas Farmer, the Mantine, just did amazing here. We get the Paralyze on the Crobat and Brian brings it home after a couple more sparks. This is going pretty well so far. Only 1 loss to each Elite Four member so far, and the level cap goes up to level 46. You're probably thinking it's Bruno, so this is going to be the easiest matchup in the entire run. It is in some circumstances. This Hitmontop will always pretty much go for Dig first time, so we can use Earthquake to deal out damage while it's under the ground. Yes, you can actually hit Pokemon under the ground if you use Earthquake, if you didn't know that by now. It takes out the first 2 Pokemon pretty quickly, and gets a lot of damage in on the Hitmonchan as well. Mach Punch takes us down though, but we've got five Pokemon take out the rest. And this is where Thomas Farmer again is perfect for, because it's got Wing Attack, super effective move against fighting types, but it doesn't do well against an Onix, so we need to use Waterfall, which it one-shots from there. Machamp comes out, Sandstorm is up and chipping away at us all, but Wing Attack is just dealing out damage that we need. We get hit by a Rock Slide, that's pretty much us done, and unfortunately it does happen with the Machamp. That brings in Shadow's G though, and as long as Shadow's G can hold out, get a few Earthquakes in, we should be alright here. We need to... Wow, Cross Chop just one-shot us. Okay, Slash does big damage, and thankfully Feraligatr can tank Cross Chops, at least one of them. That brings in Goated Edit, and are we really going to lose to Machamp now? I really shouldn't have gone for Whirlpool there. Why did I go for Whirlpool? That's a horrible move to be going for. Go for Icy Wind, finally. Quillfish gets us the win against Bruno, and that was a very tough fight. From the fire to the freezer, we go into Karen, and I don't actually think she's going to be too bad, really. Annoyingly, we do start off against Umbreon, who is a defensive behemoth. Like, why is this Pokemon so defensive bulky? We managed to get a freeze pretty much straight away, and then bring in Goated Edit, who's going to use Icy Wind to reduce its speed, and then use Pin Missile to use super effective hits against it and take it down. Bug type moves are super effective against Dark, so perfect move to be using against these Pokemon. She brings in Vileplume, and we go straight into Feraligatr for Ice Punch. It's not doing all too much damage, and Slash is doing way more really, and we managed to evade the Stun Spores throughout the entire run. From there, we're going to go for Ice Punch, hopefully get this Gengar frozen. It doesn't happen, but it doesn't go for Curse or Destiny Bond, and we managed to take it down with very little effort, very little effort at all. Murkrow's out, and we go for Ice Punch. Two of them will take it down. And that brings in the final Pokemon, which of course is Houndoom cowering in the back. Now this is perfect because, well, even though we do get Feraligatr taken down, most of our Pokemon have got the move Surf on them. But my god, the Houndoom does a lot of damage with Crunch and takes down two Pokemon. So even though they've got the type disadvantage right now, they're sweeping through our team pretty comfortably. Thankfully, Thomas Farmer comes in again, and again gets us a win. Mantine, defensive tank of our team, really does very well there. And that just leaves one challenge, and that of course is the Champion Lance. Let's see how we do here. I'm worried for this one. This is not an easy fight. The first Pokemon out, of course, is Gyarados, and we need to take it down with Brian. After that, Brian doesn't really have much of a role left in this run. We can at least try and get a Thunder Wave off, but Hyper Beam takes us down. We're pretty much hoping on just Feraligatr here, and Ice Punch. Ice Punch is 4 times effective on Dragonites, so it's a great move to be using there. We switch into Loop Alarm to conserve our Feraligatr for now, plus it can tank Hyper Beams kind of comfortably. Managed to take down the second Dragonite after a big Hyper Beam, and that brings out the third. It goes for Outrage and locks itself in. That means we can switch into Shadow's G, and hopefully deal out some chip damage with Surf before it gets taken down. It's not really too much for Shadow's G to be doing here. Pretty much we're banking it all on Feraligatr here. It's finally confused, meaning we can start taking it down with Ice Punch, but then he goes for a full restore, you cheesy guy. Thankfully he only goes for Safeguard, and we can take down the third Dragonite. But we're not out of the water yet, we've still got 2 Pokemon left. It's Charizard v Feraligatr, and Hyper Beam does massive damage. Thankfully Slash manages to outpace him, and that brings into Aerodactyl. Can we do this first time round? We get Hyper Beamed by the Aerodactyl, but it doesn't take us out. And finally, Ice Punch on Feraligatr gets us the win. We've managed to beat the Elite Four in Johto under the level cap. Pretty far below the level cap actually. We're at max level is level 43, and the top Pokemon is level 50. So I'm really happy with that level, to be honest. This with our Lantern, Brian H, Thomas Farmer the Mantine, Luke DeLorme the Quagsire, Shadow's Glory the Corsola, Lilo Endo's Bushi the Feraligatr, and Goated Edit as our Quillfish. Took us 14 hours to get to this point. Majority of that was just waiting for Quillfish to appear. The other many hours of that was just going against the optional fights to actually get some levels up, because I was not going to hack in some rare candies to do this. Anyway, Of course, with Johto, we do have the post game, so I'm interested to see how this team will actually do in that post game. 2 major fights we're going to cover though. We're only going to cover blue and we're going to cover red. The other gym leaders, really not worth talking about. Blue's up first, and of course, he starts off with Pidgeot, so we go in with Shadows G, who, in our time in Kanto, has learnt the move Ancient Power. Whirlwind takes us straight out into Feraligatr though, but that's not a problem, we still have Ice Punch. We go for Ice Punch again, the Executor, and it doesn't even do half damage. So, we're probably going to get taken down here. Yeah, that's probably one of our best Pokemon already down, so we go into Thomas Farmer and try and spam the wing attacks. It can resist Solar Beam because of the fact that it is water flying. We get it confused, and then we start wing attacking it down to the ground. We manage to waste a lot of their full restores, and then annoyingly does go for Sunny Day, so we need to also wait that out, otherwise our water type moves will do barely anything. Solar Beam as well actually did a lot more damage than I was expecting, but we managed to take down the Executor after a lot of back and forth. Alakazam comes out and then finishes off Thomas Farmer. So what's the Pokemon to move into now? Well, it's definitely not going to be Quillfish because it's Psychic super effective against us. So we need to go into Luke DeLorme, who can do powerful Earthquakes and take it down. Earthquake then gets disabled, really scuppering our plan. So what do? We set up Amnesias to try and mitigate the amount of damage Psychic does, but it doesn't really do all too much. And we are falling fast here with our team. Maybe level 50 is not the level to be going at this with, and we just keep getting our moves disabled. Why is this now such a debilitating move? Oh my word. Spark finally manages to take down Alakazam, but we have lost a lot of Pokemon in this. We can use Surf to one-shot the Rhydon pretty comfortably, and that brings us into his final 2 Pokemon. We've finally got the advantage again. Hyper Beam takes out Brian, and that's wounding because that's the best Pokemon to take out Gyarados. We switch back into Shadows G with Ancient Power, and we get the Omni boost there, meaning we can actually start dealing out some great damage. We're on 53 HP going into Arcanine. We go for the Surf, does about half damage, and then we get roared into our Quillfish. Go to edit here, staring Arcanine in the face, and goes for Hydro Pump. So we do get a first time win, but my god, that is a long fight when you don't do it as a solo run. Leaves one more challenge though. Let's see how we do against Red. Now I'm so used to doing solo runs on this channel that I thought that I could go for the Curse Rest Amnesia strats with just my Quagsire and just sweep this entire fight. Big problem with that, I taught myself Surf very early on. So I'd have to get rid of one of the moves to make this doable, and ideally we can't actually give up any of them moves to make this work. But yeah, that's a hard Pokemon to beat. Okay, let's see how we did this then. So when we finally got back to the Venusaur, even at level 55, we can actually tank 1 Giga Drain, but Ice Punch does barely any damage with Feraligatr. So that's not going to work. We try at level 58, still not going to work. Wing Attack is definitely doing good damage against it, but it's not guaranteed that it's going to confuse itself. Solar Beam just does way too much damage. We do actually manage to get very close to beating it this time around, but no. Even with 4 Pokemon left, we still won't be able to take on the rest of his team. Goated Edit actually does manage to... well, it didn't do much here because it missed an Icy Wind. Thankfully, Sunny Day wasn't up, so we can actually for the first time get through to Espeon level 58. But this is where again it becomes a problem because Psychic just one-shots our entire team. Managed to paralyze it, and that might be a good thing. And we've also taught Flash to Brian. Of all moves, Flash might actually become useful in this final fight. And it did for my Meganium run, so never sleep on Flash really. But yeah, Espeon just completely sweeps our team. Level 61, is this any different? We managed to get back to the Espeon again. We start using Flash this time with Brian, but it's not really doing all too much differently. It's still hitting its moves. Flash doesn't do all too much damage. Oh, sorry, Surf didn't do all too much damage, and we get taken down again. Level 65, any different? Yes, we actually managed to get quite far into the Espeon fight and deal out a lot of damage. That brings us then to Snorlax. and Snorlax then starts sweeping the team. Once we got to the Snorlax, we realised we need a good physical attacker to be here at this point in the game. We just can't do all too much against it because all it does when it gets onto low health is use rest. As you can see here, Shadow's G, the Corsair, actually does really well here. Apart from the fact that we don't deal out all too much damage, we did get a few Omni boosts because of Ancient Power. But it's still not enough to take down this Snorlax at this level. What we need is a lot of PP to work with, hopefully a lot more Omni boosts to work with as well, and then Shadow's G could probably sweep. But we just didn't get the right look here. And as soon as Shadow's G goes down, this attempt is just null. This Snorlax has got everything it needs to deal with our team. And yeah, I'm really annoyed we keep creeping up in levels here. Very annoying, this fight. But this is how it's supposed to be, the secret fight of the game, the hardest fight in the game, and it was the highest level fight that you went against until, I think, maybe Gen 4. It's a very hard fight. We even got down to struggle range with both Snorlax and Shadow's G. And strangely enough, just by spamming recover, we managed to take down the Snorlax on this attempt. Yeah, we wasted so much time, we actually managed to get through to that. But then, of course, Quillfish didn't really help us out here and falls to Blastoise. So let's try one last time. One last attempt here to show you that this team is possible to beat Red with. Without held items, without healing in battle, just with the moves that we have got. We use the same strategy. We start off with our Quagsire to take down the Pikachu. We don't even bother setting up curses because we know for a fact Luke DeLorme needs to stay into the fight at another point. As long as we needed was just the Amnesias. Thomas Farmer is the best Pokemon to go against this Venusaur with on this team. Wing attacks can deal out big consistent damage. Sunny Day can make sure we can stall out the Sunny Day and take down Venusaur without even losing any HP there. That brings into Espeon, and we need to... Should we switch? No, we'll stay in with Thomas Farm. If we can get a Confuse Ray off, that helps us out, and then we can switch after that. We go for an Agility as well to outspeed it next, and then we go for Waterfall, which deals out good consistent damage here. Once we've got it confused again, it hits itself Confusion. Hopefully we take it out this turn. No, but it hits us with Big Psychic. Reflect falls, and that brings us into Snorlax. Now, straight away we want to get it confused. Hits itself Confusion, and we're already in a good state, in a good position. To be fair, Thomas Farm has done his job. He has done a fantastic job this entire run, and we bring back in Shadow's Glory to actually get some glory. We're hoping for the Omni boosts here. We're hoping that Snorlax stays confused. Annoyingly, it does run out of it, and we get paralysed, which isn't good because we need to be able to hit. We hit Ancient Power, and then it goes for another Body Slam, taking down Corsola. You know what? You did the best you could there, but we need to bring in Feraligatr now. Blastoise is out next, and we're just going to go for the slashes. Surf is doing barely anything to us, and if we can get a critical hit, we can outpace them in damage output. We get a critical hit on the third, and we can finally take down that Blastoise. This is the first attempt that we saw the Charizard, and with 4 Pokemon in the back, there is nothing this Charizard can do to stop us from winning now. Hydro Pump for the win? Well, no, not after getting taken down by Flamethrower. Let's bring in our Quillfish to finish off the job. Finally, Quillfish gets his spotlight in the sun, and even tanking a massive Flamethrower gets a Hydro Pump in for the win. There we go, that is Pokemon Gold completed using a water-only team. I recommend doing this. Let's give a big thanks to our Pokemon and our subscribers for this run. Luke DeLorme, Lilo Bushi, I still can't pronounce that, Gutted Edit, Thomas Farmer, Shadow's Glory, and finally Brian H. Thank you for subscribing, welcome to the channel again, and I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm not going to spin the wheel to do the next run, but you know what, I'm just going to tell you, next time we are going to do a flying type mono run in Johto, so please subscribe you legends, and we will see you next time for that. Take care.